I say, whatever you do, you cannot be bored doing it. So like, you're going to live the rest of your life. I'm not going to work in an office where I will feel bored, right? I'm not going to work in a job where every day is the same.
Welcome to the More Better... Okay, wrong show, sorry. Welcome to the One Day at a Time podcast, where we take things one day at a time. Today in the studio, we have Fukkahfuzz.
What's up? One day at a time.
Yeah.
It took me a while when I sit down here. I was like, oh, that thing says one day at a time. And I'm like, then I realized it's the name of the show.
It's the name of the show, correct. Not this one, not More Better podcast, huh?
I know, but a very familiar setup though.
Yeah, very familiar setup. You're right. It seemed light. Yeah, so, today I wanted to get you into the studio to have a conversation a little bit more about your life as a comedian.
Right.
I think a lot of times people see you and comedians perform on stage, but they don't really, people like us, we don't really think too much about how you prep for your show, how do you even become a comedian? Not like you go LinkedIn and click apply for a job, right? That's just not how it works, right?
Up to now, I don't have a LinkedIn account. Up to this point of my life, I don't have a LinkedIn account, and I haven't updated my resume. Like, walao. Do you still have to update your resume nowadays? Is that something that's required in the job field?
I think so. I mean,
you're an entrepreneur yourself, so you probably don't have to do that.
Correct, yeah.
But like when you go out and look for jobs, is it something that you still have to do? You have to give a resume, or do they just look at your Facebook? Do they just look at your Instagram profile?
I think,
and then check your links.
Submit your resume lah. You have to submit your resume lah.
You send them like a bit.ly,
no man, I mean like a PDF lah or something.
Some kind of PDF, right? Okay. So I haven't done that for the longest time. Just because you mentioned LinkedIn.
That's amazing, right?
Yeah, but like I think I sort of it was something that I wanted to do, but I didn't think that it would be a full on career. I sort of like stumbled into it through just doing things that I love. So like I think every Singaporean son has to go through some would say burden and some would say privilege of national service, right? And your mind sort of prepares yourself to like what I would do after that. So while you're heading to NS, as a Singaporean son, you'll be like, I don't really care, I'm going to NS, right?
Yeah.
Whatever happens before NS, void. This is just my childhood, right?
Yeah.
Post NS is when you start being an adult, right? That's in every Singaporean son's head.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, I don't have to worry about anything growing up, right? And then I know I have to go through these 2 years. But after those 2 years, right, what is the plan? Okay, so I'm like, all right. In terms of school, it's not said. I didn't really do badly. Like I went to Malaysia to do secondary school. I took SPM, and then I know. It's SPM. It's kind of like I don't know how to say it. My friend jokes about it. I said, SPM, oh my god, so you PSLE certified, bastard. That's my friend. I didn't say that. My friend said that. Okay, you go figure out which friend. But yeah, so right after that, I didn't take a diploma or anything. I went straight into NS. I wanted to get it over and done with, right?
Right.
So, but all I know is after NS, I want to do things that I enjoy. I'm like, okay, I'm not exactly a person that will go through uni and then work in a bank, or neither do I want to like sell cars. Okay, maybe not at that time.
Right.
So I'm like, whatever I do after that, I just want to make sure I'm not bored doing it. That was my main intention in my head. I said, whatever you do, you cannot be bored doing it. So like, you're going to live the rest of your life. I'm not going to work in an office where I will feel bored, right? I'm not going to work in a job where every day is the same. So I'm like, okay, whatever you do, make sure make it interesting, whether it be outdoors or whether it be something that you love, even if it's not your first love, something interesting, right? So I signed up for jobs that were like quite unconventional. So I was a paintball instructor.
Oh.
For a period of time, and that's where I learned public speaking. You like organize paintball games.
Right.
And then I tried to be a fitness instructor, but they outsourced the fitness instructors to Tekong. So I was that also. So like that also got a lot of public speaking, right? Because
you were a fitness instructor in Tekong for a while.
Yeah. I was there for a while.
Shit.
Yeah. So I work all these kind of odd jobs, right? And then when I found stand up, I was just like, oh, this is something I can do on the side on top of these things. So my life not boring lah. At night I can do stand up. In the day, my work also not really that boring. I know for a lot of people like, oh, what about the pay? What about the money? That's a very Singaporean thing, right? Yeah. But in my mind, I'm like, if the pay is a lot, it's no point if every day I go to work and I feel like shit and I hate my life, So I want to go and I want to make sure that I feel good. So so riding that mindset throughout, right? It kind of just leads you to where you want to go eventually. And then when stand up, there was a job before I did stand up, which was I was a performer for this show called Waterworld. In Universal Studios. So again, make sure things are interesting, right? So fortunately for me, when I was doing stand up, somebody saw me perform and say like, oh, we need locals in our show. And that was the first few times when what do you call this? Universal Studios needed non-locals in their shows. Locals in their shows. Yeah. So and I was like, oh man, I'll be glad to be a part of your cast. Again, it's not boring, right?
Yeah.
So when I went there and then I did that job. So through that work, and then when I expanded my 2-year contract with them, then I was like, okay, I've done enough in stand up for me to like, okay, let's do this full time. Let's try to do this full time, and that has been kept. That has been my life for since 2014, So to me, it's like at the end of the day, it's just me, but it's a constant battle of me not wanting to bore myself. So it leads you to where you eventually want to be, or you eventually meant to be, So that's why I said.
Oh, that's super interesting. I mean, it's funny to hear you say that because like we are in the media industry, right? We talk to a lot of media people.
Yeah.
And a lot of people who do what you kind of do, I guess a very not normal, not common kind of job, like comedian, actor, singer, songwriter, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't get there by wanting to be there. A lot of people get there by knowing what they don't want to do, and then you kind of like cancel, and then with the right opportunities, you kind of just become that.
It's funny, you see, we're in a society where, you see, that's how small the industry is, where you still think that an actor is not a normal job.
Right. Yeah.
That's how small the industry is.
Right.
Oh, out of the many things that many people do, you choose to do that?
Absolutely.
Nobody does that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why you go and do that? Right?
Correct.
It's not the case, of course. Obviously, it's not the case in Hollywood. It's not the case in many places where if you want to be an actor, that's a normal job. That's a lot of people want to be actors, right?
Yeah.
But over here, it's like, you don't work a normal job. When the I guess the back and forth is still some kind of sales. Like I sell tickets, you buy tickets, right?
Yeah.
It's a business at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now I sound like a Singaporean.
But you're right. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's as normal as it gets. Maybe and also just because it's in the realm of entertainment, right? Which I know that our society and doesn't see our society or the powers that be may not see it as something that is a prioritized work, right? Essential. It's not an essential. So that's why they'll be like, oh, entertainment is not really, it's not normal here. But entertainment is as normal as anything, as anything, I feel, and it is as essential to like human consumption as it is to. I know. I believe.
Absolutely.
Food,
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there are a lot of misunderstandings about entertainment because most people who work the so-called normal jobs don't understand how this industry works.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, even though it is sort of normalized these days, like more and more, like I teach in schools and things like that, and more people say that, I want to be an influencer, I want to be a YouTuber, type of thing, right?
Do you think it's because like they look at the job and they think it's glamorous and easy?
Yeah, I maybe it's that, but I think at some point in everybody's lives, the concept of being famous or being known, is kind of like enticing to people, right? Until I mean, as somebody who is somewhat of a public figure on the internet and selling tickets, there are pros and cons to being recognized, right?
Well, I don't necessarily see myself as a famous person. I don't. I see myself as somebody that does this work, and some people who happen to recognize me. I'm still very grateful for every single person I meet.
Sure.
That comes up to me and wants to take a photo and stuff like that. I don't feel like a superstar at all. Like I'm like I try to keep myself as regular as I can. Okay, but I don't take the bus. So, but the fact of the matter is, I think I understand when like people growing up and they see Instagram page with a lot of likes and a lot of follows, and I guess work that garners validation from everywhere else is what they feel is something that they want, because it seems like it's something that validates them as people also.
Yeah.
I'll say if that is your intention and that is your go-to and your motive, it is not a very lasting one lah. You know, because there will never be enough. Yeah, never be enough. It's like money, it will never be enough. So I would say that as somebody that is recognized, I'm still very considerably recognized. I value what I do for a living more than that. So like that is just a byproduct of like what happens when you go on stage and you show your face a lot.
Yeah.
But the main focus is, of course, we are back at the comedy clubs. Like shout out to like Lemon Stand and also East Coast Comedy. Those are the main two places that I perform comedy at. Also at Comedy Masala as well. Okay, 3. So these places are places that I would show up regardless of how many tickets I sell or how many cities I tour, right? Because when you come back to Singapore and you come back to this part of the world, Singapore and Malaysia, this is where a lot of the material gets worked, and this is where I derive my life experiences from.
Right.
So this is where I would continue to serve lah. You know, and now I really sound like Singaporean. I continue to serve. Tell you, bro, they get in your head, bro. I tell you, these algorithms, bro. These bloody algorithms, and this whatever GST money, whatever they do to you, right? It really just it's like Lego blocks, you know, that they form in your head without even knowing, right? You sound like an NPC in this country. I swear to God.
Absolutely.
Okay. Sorry. I had to break out of that. Every time I feel like I talking like NPC, right? I have to like stop myself. I'm like, what are you saying? Because I'm media trained, bro.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So sometimes like you get into like a media trance. When I say media trance, it's like you get into like, you ask me a question, right? And your interview asks me a question. So I have been answering interviews for so long that I can spit out an answer, right?
Yeah.
That I didn't even think. Like I didn't even know I said that.
Sleep also can do.
I'm just like, probably, I guess this fits here, you know. But like, I don't want to do that, especially not in this studio, you know. Like, yeah. Okay. So anyway, please continue.
No. Yeah. So like, you know, a lot of people, being a entertainer or like a personality, these days is not as uncommon as last time. I think in this generation, a lot of parents are more okay with kids.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
always wonder like what is it like to have that Lee Nan Sing kind of fame, you know? Like I know when Lee Nan Sing was doing that gambler show, that was one of my favorite shows. Lee Nan Sing and Zoe Tay. God damn, like I think did Zoe Tay get famous off that show?
I don't know, man. But Zoe Tay was always like quite famous one.
She was. What year you born?
95.
95. I don't know if you remember Zoe Tay or not. Probably.
Actually, how old are you? I never.
Maybe got rerun. 86, bro. Fuck, bro.
Okay lah.
Yeah.
That far, yeah.
So 95, okay lah.
Have lah.
So I always wonder, like, you know, like what is it like to have like, you know, when like Under One Roof and Phua Chu Kang were at their peak, right? And then like when they walk down Orchard Road, like how would these guys get mobbed? I'm pretty sure it was insane. Like sometimes when I talk to like people like Taufik and I ask him about the Idol days and how back then during your Idol days, right? How bad was the fame? He would tell me like, I'm sorry, Taufik, for telling you this story, but he'll be like, because they were kids and they were at that time like very excited about this new experience that they were having. So they'd be like, hey, let's go to Far East Plaza, right? We just stand at the staircase there and just stand and wait. And soon enough, right, they stand and wait, right? They get mobbed like in the span of 10 minutes. Like you would never see that nowadays, unless it's an oppa lah. You know, unless it's like one of those Korean fellas. A member of BTS, which I'm totally cool with, by the way. I don't want to get in trouble with you guys. So, you know, I know they're like the most scariest fandom, right? Oh my god, looks are deceiving.
Yeah.
So I sometimes wonder also. Like nowadays, like it's very easy to find a famous person. Don't you think so?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's very common for somebody to have like 10,000 followers.
Yeah,
right?
everybody's famous.
Right.
Yeah, everybody's famous.
Sometimes it's that famous person in uni and the fella just does nothing but just is famous and has like 30,000 followers, 40,000 followers.
Yeah.
You're like, what did this fella do? He's just famous.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so fame is not exactly like a commodity now, I guess. Right? And to me, it's just like, that's why I don't see myself as a famous person, because I know people that don't do half the things I do, but they're like that when it comes to fame, these are the guys that are into it. So that's my experience with that lah.
Yeah, I mean it's very interesting also lah, because your journey also, I think it's not uncommon for an entertainer to have walked the path that you have walked, because it's not all fun and games, right?
But this is a pod, right?
Yeah.
It's a podcast. Okay, by the way, sorry if you guys hear me coughing. So what happened is I need to explain. I coughed 3 times already on this pod. So I need to explain why.
Okay.
It's not that I'm having a cough. So I had a fever and I had a flu. Then after I finished the fever and the flu, I had a cough that lasted for very long. Then I went to the doctor and I was like, okay, what's this cough? And the doctor was like, every time you recover from a big illness like that, there will be residual infection, like residual. It's a residual cough. It's kind of like the aftermath of something big that your body has experienced. So that aftermath, he said, lasts very long. And the aftermath is like sometimes 2-3 weeks, sometimes 1-2 months, bro.
So how long has your cough been?
My cough has been, this is better, but it's been like, oh man, it's been 2 weeks plus already. It's been 2 weeks plus. Then he's like, okay, give me some medicine. But he was like, I mean, like, good luck.
Oh shit! I mean, nowadays, like all the flu, people have this residual cough thing for very long. I see a lot of people
Is
coughing.
it? Really?
Yeah, it's not just you, man.
Oh,
Like, I see a lot of
okay.
people
Damn,
coughing.
I'm out here thinking I'm unique, you know?
I mean, in other ways, probably not the coughing thing.
Yeah. It's a lot of people coughing now. Okay,
Yeah, a lot of people
that's
coughing.
good.
Right, I mean,
Okay.
freaking everybody coughing in the studio also.
Really,
For a short time. Yeah.
My heart's out to you, man. Or any of you listeners out here, if you're coughing, man, stay strong. You're not alone.
Okay,
Yeah.
so back to your life as a comedian, right?
Yeah.
Actually, how long have you been doing this?
Damn, bro. Like, I think I'm 12, next year 13 years.
Yeah, more than a decade.
13 years, more than a decade. Damn. Yeah, more than a decade doing this. And I think the key is to do this for as long as I can do this. Like that's what I want. And that's the whole intention of coming in also as a stand-up. Like I chose this, one of the main reasons was, can I do this until I'm old? That's again the Singaporean part of me that's planning for old age, right? And a lot of the jobs, like I used to be really into music, and I used to be a musician in a band, but then I realized that okay, at some point, I guess for music, there's no disrespect to any musicians, but you have to be really good, and then you have to achieve legend status. And it's only kind of like cool to do it when you're young. It's the coolest to do it when you're young, I guess. Right? And I think at that point of time, I was like, okay, I don't know if I can grow old doing this. And also I wasn't good enough a musician. So I was like, looking. And then I knew I like public speaking a lot. So when I saw stand-up, and the first stand-up I ever saw was George Carlin. So I was like, okay, Carlin, and then Peters came on, and then Chris Rock, and then I got, right into the deaf comedy jam stuff. After watching all that, I asked myself, like, can I do this until I'm old? And I look at people like Harith Iskandar, I look at people like Kumar, and they do it till they're old. So okay, like, if they can do that, you can do it.
Oh man, Kumar's legend.
Yeah. He is legend status. But like I said, so once you see those things and you're like, okay, somebody just has to make it possible for the next person to understand that that's possible also. So I hope, like, as much as I am doing this, I hope, like, there's at the back of my head, I'm like, okay, if there's somebody out there who wants to be a stand-up comic and then sees what I do and sees that as a possible job to do, then that is something that I would like to see come out of that lah. Once that has come out, then I'm like, okay, this is good. We should do the right thing. Because at the end of the day, also we want to like normalize entertainment in Singapore. We need to normalize entertainment in Singapore, man. Entertainment is like a weird thing, right?
I think in the past few years, especially with COVID, it has done us some good lah, right? Like in some ways. Talking about like normalized entertainment, I think more and more people, just now we talk about how everybody is freaking famous for no reason. That in itself is a form of like entertainment normalizing.
Do you sometimes miss lockdown? Is that something that
I don't think so lah. Do you?
Maybe for a week. If everybody locked down for a week, I would like to have that.
Yeah, good some rest time, right?
Yeah, just rest time for like and I wouldn't say I enjoyed it because it wasn't the most lucrative time for me.
Yeah.
However, that first 1 to 2 weeks of the whole world just going, just like cooling down, relaxing. Like I felt it in the air. It's like finally everything, the whole rat race and all that is relaxed, right?
Right.
And of course, when that is extended to long periods of time, then you start getting restless and you start getting depressed. And the mental health problems went to the roof. However, in that 1-2 weeks, that was a really good break. So maybe if it's even not in the form of a lockdown, I would like to like. No, I mean anybody can take vacations when they can afford to. However, I feel like when the world took a vacation for 2 weeks, that was
different.
great. Yeah,
it's different. Yeah. Talking about, like mental health and everything.
Yeah.
Like as a comedian, right? Like this is actually the first time I'm talking to you that you sound like a normal human being. Like most of the time when we interact, when I talk to you or when I see you, I see you on my TikTok and whatever,
yeah.
you are always happy and hyped up and that is obviously impossible to be 24/7 as a hyped up happy person, right? Because you're still human. You still go through heartbreaks, you still go through basically human emotions,
emotions,
right?
yes.
So for you as a comic, how do you manage that as Fukkahfuzz the person versus Fukkahfuzz the comedian who needs to go up there, do 7 shows in a week and just show up and perform and be that joke, that to be that guy that delivers the jokes, you know, and how do you kind of manage that? Because there are days where surely you might not feel up to it.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. I think it's very optimistic for you to think I have a 7 show week. So 4 shows at much, at best, and that's a good week, you know. Going through emotions is very it's no different from the average person, except that maybe because what my job does is the over analyzing of situations. Like I analyze, mainly build my career of analyzing stereotypes, right? Or analyzing observations. So when things go on inside of you, that is another big experience for a comedian to observe, if that makes sense. So for many people, if you're feeling sad, maybe you just feel sad and you leave it as that. Like, oh, okay, I am feeling sad right now. I'm going through this emotion. But for me, when I feel a big emotion, there is also that other part of me that wants to break it down. Like, why am I feeling this way? How did I feel this way? And it just it really gets you into your head like that,
right,
you know.
right.
And I know for some people, they're like, okay, if I every day want to think like that, that's how I want to work, yeah, you know, like correct lah. But that's how I work lah, you know what I mean? Like that's just how it happens for me lah. And I think comedians, out of a lot of people, that they have this misconception that they say like, oh, if this guy is a comedian, I'm pretty sure that this guy is like, he can take a joke all the time. So you know, bro, comedians are like the most sensitive motherfuckers you can meet around. Sorry, can curse around?
Yeah,
this,
can.
Okay,
of course.
They're the most sensitive motherfuckers you can see around. Like, they're very, very sensitive one. Like, I guess when it's time that we turn it up, we can turn it up. But a lot of the other times when shit like that happens, it's very easy to at least for the ones I know, like, to like irritate them or have them roll their eyes or something, like, or have them feel like they're very uncomfortable in the situation. Because what comedians are, or what drives someone to be a comic is, I feel, the need for attention, and the need for validation, and the need to please people. I think these three things reside in a comic. Either that, or they have something that they really, really, really want to say, and they really want to express, and that thing just happens to be hilarious because of how authentic it is, right?
Right.
So those are the elements that a comic is made up of, right? So when you take a comic in like that in situations where that is their job, they will do it to the best of their abilities. But at some point also, they're like, I'm really, really tired with this, you know, and I just want to be by myself and in my head, but like I cannot be by myself, so I just want to be alone in a crowded room, if that's okay, right? So a lot of comics find themselves isolated from a quote unquote normal group of people,
right?
And these people all gather in a comedy club and they find these great things in common. Like when I am in a room full of comedians, right, it's almost like an unspoken language we have with each other, where like you get that I'm not trying to harm you, and you get that I'm not trying to do anything. You trust me that everything I say towards you is just in jest, you know, and it's with good intentions. And the sensibility between comedians, right, is like unspoken but very global. Like if I go to Indonesia and I meet comics, right, it's like meeting your own people, like that, you know? Yeah, it's almost like they go through the same struggle of like going up there and trying to make people laugh is not the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, for sure.
So everybody that goes through that struggle, we have an unspoken bond with, like that. So to answer your question, how I deal with emotions and stuff, I think I would encourage people to like find places of comfort, in which case for me is I find comfort in the work that I do. Like I really love going to a comedy club. I thank the heavens that we have a full-time comedy club. And that's where like I guess the community resides. But at the end of the day, like we are social creatures as people. I know you say like if you say you're an introvert, you know, and you don't really make a lot of friends and stuff, it's sometimes important to just go out and meet people and talk to people. Like they'll make they'll make you have a better sense of reality a little bit, and you don't get too into your head. Like I mentioned before, like I get too into my head, so that's why I know I need to go out. I need to talk to people, and I just need to be a part of something that makes me like, okay, this is reality. You know, whatever I have going on in my head, that's not real. You know, that's just me reaffirming the bad thoughts that I made up, or that was the result of something bad that happened or what. You know, so yeah lah. So that
I mean, I think I am partly surprised that you said that, but I am also partly not. The part where you talk about how most comics are very sensitive people because of what drives someone to become a comic.
Yeah.
Right? Like you like for you over analyzing situations and things like that. That means you have that innate ability to pick up on certain cues of human interaction and things like that, which makes a comic more sensitive than maybe the average person.
Yeah.
I
It
think
surprises people sometimes. Like, hey, why you a comedian? Why you cannot take joke? I'm like, I'm the guy that cannot. Like, I'm the guy, bro. Like out of everything.
Because you know when you have like a persona on stage and you just you dish out jokes, and sometimes you joke about your audience and things like that and things like that, right? So it is, I think, maybe can be quite surprising to a lot of people. I mean, maybe people know, I don't know, right? Can be quite surprising to a lot of people, like myself included, that comedians are actually very sensitive.
Yeah. And I think what I realized that could be most authentic to me at this point in my life is that I don't have to be the winner in the joke all the time. You know, sometimes like you see comics, the ones that you see online, the ones that you scroll, they're always like, oh, where you from? And then like, and then the comic says something that's like witty, and then everybody goes, yay, right? But I've recently realized that I don't have to be the guy that says that. Sometimes the situation can be funny.
Right.
Maybe I'm just a catalyst to the situation.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And then sometimes also like if I am the victim of the joke, it's also fine. I mean, I think the main purpose is to have people have a good time, right?
Yeah.
So just as long as they're having a good time, I think the show must go on. And that kind of like selfless thought is something new that I've learned. Like, because when I was in my 20s, I'm 37 now, but when I was in my 20s, I needed to be the man all the time, and I needed to be like, okay, the best joke has to come out from me. The best joke has to, which is, I guess, if you're a competitive person, it validates why you think like that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I realized the value in being like a more team player, you know. So I'm going like, okay, as long as they are entertained, it doesn't matter where the source is, or even if you're not the one. Sometimes you're the one serving the ball, you're not the one spiking the ball. You know, like a volleyball reference. I don't even play volleyball. Yeah, you know. But that reference has been made to me before by someone. That's why I'm repeating it. So yeah, that's that lah. But you're sensitive lah.
I mean, do you feel like sometimes in the journey of trying to make a room of people laugh and happy, you sometimes might sacrifice your own happiness and contentment in the process?
Oh, I like this. A sacrifice.
Because that is your job, right?
Sacrifice. In some way. There is sacrifice, but I would like to think that it's not my happiness that's being sacrificed, because I would never sacrifice my happiness and my freedom. When I say freedom, I mean when I say freedom, I'm like, oh, it's freedom. I'm freedom. I'm also Singaporean, by the way. Right, it's synonymous, these two things, freedom and Singaporean. So when I say freedom, I mean like I don't want to be bound by certain by certain rules, right? And the sacrifice is only at the sacrifice that I'm willing to make. So I think sacrifice, I guess, in the pursuit of trying to make this work, you sacrifice things like time with your family sometimes. And you sacrifice a normal relationship with regular friends that you used to have, things that you speak of in common. Now I still keep a couple of friends around, but then like the things that we have in common with some of them, with some of my old friends, like it gets lesser and lesser, and sooner or later the only thing we can bond on is nostalgia, you know, and because they're not gonna understand and be like, oh, what did you do today? Oh, I did a 3-hour podcast. I was like, why can I earn money when I do podcast? Like it just you know,
I feel you, man.
And when those conversations happen too many times, I'm just like, look, maybe we cannot be friends like that anymore, like, because there is lesser of an understanding of what I do, you know, and more of a you validate your work more than you validate mine, you know, like you're saying, oh, this can man until when you want to do podcast, like bro, until forever, bro, you know, until for as long as I want to do this, right, and that level of sacrifice, I guess, relationships, because you're on tour a lot, you know, I try to create as many relationships as I can with people, and I try and form intimate relationships if I can, but keeping them up, you know, as a traveling comic, as somebody that wants to go around the world and do comedy because that's his dream, it's a bit hard to do that also. So there's a lot of sacrifice because it's a selfish career. Yeah, it's a very selfish career. But at the same time, like as selfish as it is, I try to give as much as I can. So balancing that is then another sacrifice. In terms of personal happiness, I guess, in wanting to make people laugh, and in doing in portraying yourself as a jovial, happy person, or a person that's full of light and laughter, it may be misconstrued by like the public sometimes as like, okay, this guy is always like that, you know, and they fail to see the human side, and you kind of just have to, I guess, be appreciative of the fact that they love your stuff, but then also kind of be understanding and empathize that they won't know what you're feeling at the moment, and they only know you for that guy, you know?
Yeah.
So that kind of understanding is the kind of sacrifice that I have to do. And especially in this part of the world, sometimes, well, I guess it's good for me if some people know me, because it kind of keeps me disciplined. Yeah, because a lot of people get in trouble because they get recognized a lot. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll try to not get in trouble so much because of some people that might know me. You know, that's that lah. Yeah. So that's just a sacrifice lah. It's emotional sacrifice most of the time. Oh, and monetary sacrifice also. Because speaking to you, whoever's watching this, nobody is going to give you handouts in this country. Nobody's going to care. Everybody wants that job. Okay? Everybody wants that job. Everybody wants that place. You know? So I think what you have to do is, the main thing is to find what your unique selling point is. Right? See? So Singaporean.
You're breathing the air, man. You're breathing the air.
Oh my God. But honestly, if you have something unique that only you can sell, right? That is the key for people to hire you, because the resource only comes from one place, and the resource is unique to that one to that one person, you know, because only he can be himself. So okay, I hope that made sense.
Yeah, it does.
I hope that made sense. Yeah. For me, I'm not tied to any production house. I mean, apart from this one, I'm not tied to any label or all that. Fortunately for me, I most of my work and most of my shows and most of anything you ever see out there came out from my own pocket. So there is a sacrifice that you have to, and sometimes like Singaporeans, they're always like, if you have money, you have to save or you have to invest. So to me, it's like I am not good at like financial investments with a lot of things, but the only thing I invest in, I spend a lot on, is myself. So when I say myself, I mean like the production of my shows, and you know, I guess you know, renting the studio out, you know, with these nice lights and all that. This is something that I feel like is a worthy investment because it might pay off at some point. And if it doesn't pay off the way you want to, at least you made a lot of cool shit. You made a lot of cool shit.
Yeah, I mean, like, financial investments aside, whether you buy stocks, buy equities, buy real estate, I think like many entrepreneurs like us sitting in this room can agree that one of the best investments you can ever make with money is in yourself lah.
Yeah,
it's in yourself.
It's
your
the
career.
best bet because I can control me. Yeah, you know, if I bet on me, I can control how I go.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
If I bet on something else, I'm not gonna go how this person. Now I have to trust this person to make my money worthwhile.
Absolutely.
No, I'm not gonna do that. Like if I bet on myself, at least if I fail, I did it on my terms. You know, I failed on my terms.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I've tried everything that I could. I did everything that I could. You know, I went to the furthest extent, and then I failed. It's fine. At least I fail. because
Dude,
I
because
did
of
it.
you. Yeah, because of you.
And I can change. But if I put money in some other places, like if I put money in some, I mean, I know crypto bros out there and they're saying like it's a bear market lah, or it's bullish behavior or whatever, you know, LFG or some shit, right? I get it. I get to the moon or whatever the fuck y'all say, you know? I get it. Listen, I may not be at a point to understand what you do, how you do, to what extent. However, I cannot put my money somewhere and hope. I cannot do that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, that's the rule number one of investment, right? Don't buy shit you don't understand. Right?
Yeah. Well, you said it best. I don't know any of this shit, right? So like, if I put it in there and I'm like, all right, I guess it's gonna grow. It might not.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't, I look at myself and going like, wow, you're such a dumb fuck. Like, why do you put money in there? What's a Bitcoin, Fuzz? Tell me what's a Bitcoin. What's a Bitcoin? Decentralized currency. All right. What does it mean by decentralized? Break that down for me. I can't. I don't know what it is. So I don't put my money in there at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
However, back to what I was talking about before, if I put my money in there, I know everything about me. You know, at least as far as I've researched myself. You know, I know everything about me.
Yeah.
So I know if tomorrow I'm acting bearish or bullish, you know. so it relates to everybody out there. So like you can you know yourself like best investment.
Right. And every time you fail, it's also another path forward to how you can do things better. And basically, it's business building, right?
Yeah.
You're basically an entrepreneur.
Yeah, fail forward, as they say, right?
Yeah,
fail
absolutely.
forward.
I think the part where, I mean, having done this for like 12 to 13 years, it has become like breathing air already. This is not a career anymore. It's just your life.
I'm so glad that it's got to that point, you know, like because when I used to get very intimidated when I go to corporate shows or when I go to a lot of places, I'm going like, oh, maybe would they accept me as someone who's trying to entertain them as a comedian, or this guy's a stand-up comedian. What makes him different from Jeff over there, who's really funny in the office, you know?
Right.
Like, you know, what makes him different? You know, he doesn't look like a funny guy, you know? Yeah, but I think over the years, as I've done a lot of these shows, I realized that, you know what, Fuzz, like you, this is you, this is your job, right? You know, some people experience imposter syndrome being accountants.
Yeah.
Some people experience imposter syndrome doing anything. So what you experience is very normal because every time you're moving forward to a place that you are uncomfortable in. So because of that, I was like, okay lah, you know, like nervous is nervous when I go up on stage, but then I don't feel small around people where they look at me like, are you really a comedian? And I'm like, it's the best way for you to like, I guess, feel more confident about yourself is the small wins. Yeah, you know, like even the win not big also, the small wins that you have every day, those are the things that will stack up into building confidence, foundations of confidence at least. Yeah.
I mean, in your career, because of like what you do, the people that you meet, there is a lot, like, even like the imposter syndrome thing that you're talking about, there is a lot of just understanding who you are as a person and processing a lot of feelings or emotions, right? Like if you keep drowning in feelings and you keep like shoving them away, chances are you're not going to be able to do this for 13 freaking years. Like you will have broken down at some point.
Oh, man,
right?
Even not also sometimes you feel those meltdowns, you know, because you're
absolutely.
like, especially when you like achieve something. So let's say if you had a goal and you achieved it, and then like the what's next feeling, sometimes it could get to you because like there's no worse feeling than feeling that you've lost your way. Like you don't know where to go already after this, you know. You've done everything already. And then what? I think there is a common there's a common thinking in Singaporeans where they feel like they feel like there is a concept of happy ever after, you know, where okay, one day I'll retire, I'll relax and everything will be fine. But you have to understand that even in that relaxation stage, if you ever get to retire, you still have to experience day to day. And day to day is so mundane. And especially if you have achieved everything, if you have all the money, if you have spent everything and you have traveled the world and you have seen all the places you want to see, buy all the bear bricks you want to buy, right? And then bought all the shoes and the bags and all that, you have already bought it, you know? And then you still have another 20 years or 30 years to live, you know, at that point of your life still. And then what you gonna do every day from Monday to Sunday? Like you can say like, I'm gonna do this one thing, you know, but you're gonna get bored. Right? So I think the human existence thrives on purpose. and goals, right? That's what keeps us moving, right? Even as society, that's what keeps us moving, you know. And because of that, I think to myself like, okay, I have to constantly set goals. Like it's not that, but I have to constantly set goals, but at the same time also I have to be appreciative of where I am in the present. It's all about the balance, bro. As corny as it sounds, it's really just meeting everything in the middle, you know. As long as you have the balance, is good.
Yeah.
And I've seen that lah for people that have achieved their goals.
Yeah, I mean, would you say that one of the toughest parts of being a comic is actually not learning how to find the balance, but keeping the balance throughout your entire career? Because it's very easy to sometimes lose ourselves in, you know, like we drink our own Kool-Aid too much, right? It's very easy to lose ourselves, and with all the people that you know, like send you good emojis, you know, like Fuzz, and all the people that send you like, oh, freaking Fuzz, you're not even funny, that amidst all that, and finding that balance between managing your life, your finance, your emotions. And do you think that is one of the, that it's not writing the jokes, right? It's not like it's not showing up. Do you think that balancing all these things and keeping yourself afloat is one of the toughest things in your job?
Keeping myself afloat in this rent economy, it's a crazy rent economy, man. What's the government expecting us to live in? Like, where else after this? How much smaller are these houses gonna get? How much smaller are these houses gonna get? Bro, if we're literally living in concrete boxes now, there are worth millions. Concrete boxes that are worth millions, right? How much smaller until we figure out as a country that, hey guys, maybe living like this sucks, you know? But your country very rich, you know? Your country very rich. What is the point?
They're not wrong. They're not wrong.
What is the point of my country being so rich when this is my entire apartment? Bruh, my kitchen is 2 steps away from my living room. Why? I don't feel the money at all. You know, what's the point, right? Sorry, side rent. So,
CCHD.
So, keeping your sanity afloat and keeping your life afloat, it is tough. But like what I like to do is, I think personally, I'm just a guy that enjoys life. And when I say I enjoy life, not because it goes good all the time.
Yeah,
like enjoy the experience of life, the human experience of trouble, of heartbreak, of sadness,
the ups and downs,
of happiness after that, you know. And then like sometimes you got money, and then after that, for some reason, 2 years later, you lose all the money. And then when you lose all the money, you think that life is gone already. You think that there's no hope. Then you gain back all the money. Like that whole experience. Or you lose someone you really love, and then something unexpected happens. And all the things that life can throw at you, right, is such a, I mean, all in all, a fun ride, you know, a fun ride to experience. Well, in saying that also, I'm not disregarding people that have been dealt very bad cards in life, you know, a lot of them have been dealt very bad cards in life, and their situations could be better, especially the ones that are suffering from places that are highly impoverished, war-torn places, you know, where their situations could be a lot better than what's being given to them. However, I do sometimes, as much as I empathize with those situations, I take a step back to kind of experience my life a little bit and tell myself that, okay, you know, that would make me feel more grateful for my privilege in experiencing ups and downs in life. Because sometimes for a lot of people, their life is just down. You know, it's all the way down, bro. It's like it starts here and it's and it's done, you know. And some people, they even have the misfortune of their life always going up. They get desensitized to success. Absolutely.
Like you take the drug too much, you cannot come back down already.
Yeah. So that is also, I mean, it's kind of like a gift, but also a curse, right? So again, I generally, as long as I'm still enjoying the experience or my personal experience that is life, I feel like that's
how you live until you die.
That's how I live.
I think that was very nice. In some ways, like what you just described, right? I think most people will call it like trusting the process. Right? Or just enjoying the process. Right? The results is secondary.
And
learning how to trust the process is very, very difficult, especially in our country where materialistic things are such a big thing. You know, you talk about living
in our country, government say, no problem. We give you the process. Why don't we trust the process? You want to go through the process yourself? We've already written the whole process for you.
Follow.
That's the whole process for you. You go uni, then you get the job, then your CPF enough, you buy this concrete box,
65
and then you have
retire.
family. There's no process. What more you want? I give you already, you still want to complain. Huh? Complain, your Grab come late. Huh? You want to complain, your Grab come late. We already, that's how they want you to think.
Yeah.
What more you want? Every year give you $800, still complain. Why not happy? Huh? Singapore is the most expensive place in the world. You must be proud. It is though. It's ranked number one most expensive.
Oh, is it?
It is. Recently, it just ranked most expensive.
Well, number one for something at least.
It's not a flex, guys. The fact that it costs a bomb to live in this country is not a flex.
Because we live here, lah.
Yeah. How is this a flex, guys? How much more expensive you want this to be? You want one teh? You want one teh paid to cost a HDB house? Is it? That's where we start. Is it?
10,000 Bitcoin for one teh peng.
10,000 Bitcoin for one teh peng. Is that how? Where's the ceiling for this place? I don't understand. Where is the ceiling for this place? God damn.
Yeah, I mean, you know, just
your comment section gonna blow up, bro.
Yeah, man, what I said, dude. But that's you. That's just who you are. And you talk about purpose.
Yeah.
Right, living life, purpose. In the beginning, you started as a comic because you just didn't want to do boring shit. Right? And over the years, being a comic for 12, 13 years, is it still the same for you? Like your goal in life, your purpose in life is just to find stuff to do that is not boring.
Yeah. But I realized that the older I get, I like routine better. Routine last time boring, right? But now like routine I like. I mean, I like waking up, going to jiu-jitsu, and then doing my admin in the afternoon, and then comedy show at night. Like that's a...
You do jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, that's a normal day for me. Wake up, have a glass of water, and then go jiu-jitsu, and then have coffee afterwards, and then do my admin all the way, nighttime show. Whole day.
Hey, okay, I like what you say. You know, like I think there's a lot of misconceptions that people who work in media, people who perform, don't do admin.
Oh no, must do admin, dude. Who want to do for you?
You gotta do your taxes, right? You gotta do
everything.
You gotta do
your
book your shows,
plan
the Excel sheet,
do
the tour schedule.
No, Excel sheet, all this I got somebody to do for me, but then I will plan the whatever lah.
Correct. Admin, very important.
Answering the email So the admin is a big chunk of the day, and then at night go show.
So you're really just the office. You're just the same as the guy sitting in the office.
I just know also.
You don't have a cubicle lah. You don't have a cubicle. Your office is anywhere you bring your computer to lah.
At the end of the day, you cannot escape that life, right? Yeah. So that's generally what I enjoy that. Like I realize that at this point of my life, that there are things that I enjoy that might have been understood as boring for me back in the day. I enjoy it so much now. Like Christmas is coming. I don't know when this is gonna be out, but like Christmas is coming, right?
Right.
And I tell you, if somebody gives me a frying pan, right, I cannot be more grateful. Like, you know, I'm at that age where you give me frying pan, but you tell me this one is a solid one, like non-stick, and then like this one, like what? This is a vegan friendly, whatever.
No,
Bro,
I get you. Yeah.
I'm so excited at the fry. I went to Taka the other day, and then I saw a pan, or is it a wok or something like that, this big, and I was like, wow, if I could fry a carbonara, and this will be so easy. Like I literally in my head, those are the things that made me like so excited. Coffee machines, I love coffee machines. You know, air fryers, love them. Right, anything that can cut my cooking time by half, I love it.
Yeah.
So
it's called aging. It's called aging.
I think so. But like, it's so amazing. Like now I appreciate things, and because I guess maybe in my youth I have done all those things that were considered not boring. Right, so now the boring things feel interesting to me.
Absolutely.
You know?
Because people have done that.
They have done that.
How many follow the formula.
Yeah, how many party you want to go? How many party you want to go? All the parties same. That's go home. How many party you want to go? Right? How many parties you want to go? How many, hey, you come here often? Are you gonna ask? Right? How many of those? How many nights are you gonna wake up with a headache? How many of those until you're like, okay, maybe I'll cut down on this, you know? And honestly nowadays, not a lot. You do like one or two, right? You're done. Like I would not go to festivals where I have to wait 3 hours for a cab. Right. That is done, bro. Yeah. So but that is not being boring, right? That is being like, oh, we're having fun, but like, it's not that fun now. Yeah, anymore. Yeah. fry pan inside my house. More fun.
Dude, these days when I order a mop, right, wow, I'm more excited than buying iPhone, man. You know, it's
Hey, I heard now there's this vacuum cleaner like can mop at the same time.
yeah, steam and suck and
Serious ah?
damn freaking
What
good, man.
the fuck? Really?
Hey, you should get sponsored. Hey, sponsor the More Better Podcast
Wait.
vacuum cleaner.
Wait, no, what
Yeah,
vacuum cleaner is it? Like
I
as
think-
you vacuum, the fella can mop.
I think there are quite a few. Samsung has one. I think Dyson has one. There's this brand called Shark. They have one.
You fucking kidding me?
I mean, like
so
they,
like you kill two
they
birds with one
vacuum
stone.
and mop at the same time.
What the?
Freaking insane. Yeah, I think it's these things like it's these little gadgets that make your life a bit more easy.
Sure.
The cleaning, you know, you gotta clean your house, you gotta wash the toilet, right?
Dude, my sister is getting a HDB. My sister shout out my sister by the way. She's getting $5. She's getting a HDB, and she literally told me, "It's like if you want to give me a housewarming gift, I need that vacuum cleaner with a mop." I'm like, I am on it, bro. I am on it.
They're not cheap either.
They're not cheap. They're not cheap. So I have to somehow figure out a way.
Do more shows, man.
Figure out a way to get it, and it will be the best housewarming gift. I think she will love it so much, you know. Yeah. I know she is, and you know she chose the path of the concrete box, but she couldn't be happier because she has good neighbors and stuff. There is actually some kind of charm, right, in living in a uniquely Singaporean neighborhood.
Yeah,
actually,
I
like
think so.
those kind of BTO neighborhoods or those kind of like places where. I think now a normal Singaporean neighborhood will consist of many foreigners living in a HDB flat as
That's
well.
true. That's
right?
true.
It's been a very high mix of like foreigners
that's
plus I guess we would call it like native breed Singaporeans.
Yeah.
But like we're starting to meld together. We're starting to be a melting pot of people from all over the world, kind of like get molding into this one
It's concrete box
unknown culture, like whatever mix of culture this is, right?
Yeah.
So she has found like a perfect neighborhood to experience that, and I think that one actually there's some kind of charm to that. Yeah. Like I would love to, if I stay in Singapore, right, if I ever buy a house, I want to buy a house like far away from the city, or like far away, like some Sengkang or something. Right? Like away, like really away. You know, like I park my car everywhere out there quiet. You know, that's.
I know where you can buy. Sentosa Cove.
No lah. No. You know why I don't want to buy Sentosa Cove? I heard if the sea levels rise, Sentosa is the first place to go. I don't want to, bro. Bro, I'm irritated by Greta, but I listen still. You know, she's making a point right now. I mean, maybe not the nicest way, but she's making a point. Yeah, I heard Sentosa is the first place to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's by the sea, You're literally.
East Coast is nice though.
Yeah, East Coast is nice. East Coast is very nice. Breezy.
Yeah, then the fact that you can take the underpass to the actual beach is quite quite charming.
It's very nice
Yeah. But that place is gonna be all for rich people at the end of the day. The whole coast, the HDBs is all gonna be estates for. I would think so. I
mean, many places in our country is for rich people
Yeah, actually, somebody told me that. I mean, somebody told me that a very long time ago, right? Maybe about like 10, 15 years ago. She said, you know, Fuzz, where Singapore is headed, right? I heard that Singapore is just going to be a playground for the rich. That's what this country is going to turn to. And I could not believe her any less. Like I told her, I said, no lah, how can that be? There are a lot of Singaporeans here that are middle income earners. There are a lot of Singaporeans here the people have a link to identity to this country. You know, I'm pretty sure the government would take that into consideration also, that this is a country of like, you know, multi-income earnings, you know. No. As the years go by, I'm like, this is getting more and more ridiculous to stay. Like it just gets more and more ridiculous to pay this amount of money. It's like, oh, you really have to be rich to hang around here lah. You really have to lah.
Well, depends on what you do lah. There are pros and cons to this country lah. Like you mentioned just now, you know, like it has its own charms, but there are things hoops to jump through lah.
The cultural charm still exists. You just have to find. You know, like if you live in a nice neighborhood, actually, if you live in like Yishun and all that, it's quite it's
shared
nice.
Experience.
Yeah. It's quite a shared experience with everybody. And then like there's some neighborhoods where like the charm hasn't been lost. So those are the mini diamonds of Singapore that I hope would not get removed in the modern or to say modernization or the industrialization of this country. I hope those elements that kind of like paint a picture of what a unique experience, a Singaporean experience is, doesn't get lost in that, you know, because you go for money. You forget that the people lose their identity. They don't understand why they're here. And they understand what it means to be here, or what are we doing? What this country just wants to be rich. That's it. There has to be something more, right? Well, what are we pushing, like culture or something?
I mean,
or
that is, I guess, one of the reasons why a lot of people here are unhappy in a sense, where because we are molded to chase money, right? We're molded to chase that 13-month bonus or whatever thing, right? Like which we will never ever get. But it's okay because we might not be able to live in Sentosa Cove, but maybe we don't want to either. But at least it's a somewhat of a fulfilling life right?
Suppose,
in some way. In some way. And because
fulfilling to them is equals to being financially.
Well, I think it depends, right? I think many people, I think we are in like the 20s, 30s, 40s where people like hustle and whatever. We hustle for a different reason, probably. But I think like I have seen and known many people who reach their 50s, their 60s, and they are living in their $1 million concrete boxes.
Wow.
And they realize that, shit, man, I work so freaking hard 65 years.
For what, right?
Yeah.
For what, right?
And then you're freaking unhappy for the next 35 years until you die.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's the general
right. That's the formula, ma.
But then I follow the formula already. Government give me the formula. How come inside here got
because
no
on
manual?
On paper, correct.
Got no manual correct. To be happy. How come got no manual to be happy, right?
Yeah.
That is I guess now the common experience of a Singaporean right now That's what they're going through
Which is why I think in this generation, the next generation after us, like the teens, right? Actually, it's quite amazing because I can see that more and more people are chasing the what I want to do rather than the what makes me most money.
That's beautiful.
Right.
That's
because
beautiful.
I mean, sure, there will always be your people who are going for the jobs that make them the most money rather than the most fulfilling. But I think more and more we are having a lot more conversations about this thing like being contented, being fulfilled, being happy, and more and more people wanting to be freaking you. I mean, not saying that you are a YouTuber, you will be fulfilled but I think the conversation has changed, or is changing, which might not be hopefully it might be a good thing for people that live in this country we will have less people sitting in cubicles and working their life out all the way till 65, 75 and realize that actually my past 75 years is a lie.
I think they're trying to solve the population crisis though. I think that's what is happening. I think they're trying to solve the aging population problem and I think that's a result of like cost of living, right?
So definitely.
The general Singaporean family does not want to produce that many offsprings because it's costly to live here.
It is costly,
And due to that we have a declining population, and that's where like the government, then we should bring in more people, right? Like we are the champions at overcompensating. We are the champions at that. Like once we got a problem, right? Please know that problem is going to get beaten to the ground, right? Like in a Singaporean context, right? The moment, got COVID, I'll show you how to handle COVID.
Right? I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, it is effective in its own ways. Along the way, we might sacrifice certain things
Yeah, we do. So in this case, I'm like, not enough people. All right, I'll get on it. and then
efficient.
Now there's too many people. I'm like, hey, then how?
Then they'll find another solution.
Actually, it's very interesting. You know what? Maybe we're thinking about this the wrong way. Maybe they're like, Singapore's like, now got this problem, right? Not happy, and then got too many people, right? And very expensive, right? Watch us solve this. Oh man, if that's the case, right? Oh my god, then you have my undying support Every year, my vote will be the same. Okay, every 4 years, my vote will be the same. But like till then.
So as a comedian, as some of a media personality, people who perform like musicians, comics, MCs, you don't really have a very normal path. Like there's no formula. There's really how you became Fukkahfuzz, how Dr. Jason Leong became his thing. You walk completely different paths. There's no formula to become a comic. There's no formula to become Benjamin King or some street. Like everybody walks a different path.
Correct.
So if someone who might be listening or watching to this podcast, right, wants to or aspires to become a comic, what would be your advice for them? Because you cannot go to freaking comic school and get a degree you can't. It's a different path. Like it's not like engineering or science or law, being a law. And you cannot copy paste basically. So how? If somebody wants to do this, maybe not just be a comic, like be in the media, be like a musician or something, right? What would be your your approach?
I think for the most part, like for what we've been talking about in this entire pod is like a formula being present, you know, in the Singaporean society where like if you want to aspire to do something, here's step 1 all the way to step 10, right?
Yeah.
I think for being a stand-up comedian or being an entertainer is somebody that wants to step out of that. So for starters, if anybody that's willing to do this, then you have to kind of step out of that and realize that this system is a system that works maybe, but it might not be the system that works for you. Second, understand that there is nobody getting in the way between you and your opportunities of getting your work out there, because now you have a phone, you know, and now you have a phone that can record. You have a phone that can access social media platforms that would spread whatever you do to the rest of the world. So there is no gatekeeper anymore, you know, of your product. So there should be nothing that stops you from getting your stuff out there. And third of all, if you want to do this, then just, you know, make sure that the intention coming in is because you really just love it, you know. You don't go in with the intention. Maybe you can have dreams, but don't go in with the intention to like make money. You don't go in with the intention of like buying a house with this. Perhaps if you do work hard enough and get to a point in the career enough for you to be able to do that, then that's good on you. But that should be treated as a byproduct instead of something that is heading towards, because you're facing a lot of highly disappointed moments if that's your objective. Because this career is it doesn't promise anything. You know, it doesn't promise anything. It only promises you, I guess, a good time at the end of the day, or it only promises to be unpredictable. So as a person, if you really want to do this, make sure that your passion matches that. You know, your passion matches that. That means you love this enough to go through uncertainties. So if that's something that you want to do and that's something that you're okay with, then this is a good path for you. Yeah. Otherwise, if you want something that's sure and you want something that's more concrete, then maybe this will be a good hobby to have.
And there's nothing wrong with it being a hobby, right?
No, of course not.
Yeah,
of course not.
With
It's just that
hobby.
then your expectations have been managed lah.
Right.
Yeah, but if you're planning to do this full time, then your expectation will be very high. But I've seen some people that work really hard to get to where they want to be. So that goes the same for anybody that wants to do this also. Like, you kind of have to really, really work your ass off. Yeah.
Right. So I guess, like, to summarize, what you're saying is essentially, if you really want to do this, the whole learning how to appreciate the entire doing and being content with the doing should be a lot more important than the making the money, selling tickets, you know, like touring.
It's true, yes, and I know it's number one might be cliche to hear, and second might be like, oh, it's easy for you to say, you know, but we all have day-to-days, we all have bills, we all have problems, and we all need to make ends meet as soon as we can, right? But that comes as one of the challenges of experiencing this. Like, I've had money become I would say a problem, but a challenge for me in many points of my life. But I never stopped doing this and continued, you know, finding the money to sustain my life. You know,
trusted the process.
I just trusted. But sometimes you gotta do work that you don't want to do, you know. But there's no shame in that. Like during COVID, you know, I even delivered food for a little bit, you know. But this was my friend's company. I delivered food for a little bit. When I say a little bit, a really little bit, like maybe about 4-5 days. But
you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, but like I did that not to be bored, and at the same time also, like, you know, at least you got money coming in, you know, and stuff like that. Like sometimes don't be too ashamed to go to a place where like you feel like, oh, I'm supposed to be big by now. Why am I still here? But that's just life, man. You know, it takes you places, right? And that's the general, like I mentioned before, the general experience of it. And you have to kind of like look at you have to love the experience of life. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. I feel you, man. I think, well, I've never actually seen you like that before. Like every time Fuzz is in the studio, right, we have to really watch the audio levels because his podcast is always you know, like I've never.
That's the product I sell lah. That's the 1 hour. It's a 1 hour hangout. You know, if you feel like you want to have a boost, a boost of your day, to have like the intention of the More Better podcast is two things: is to accompany you in your commute, and then also is to, if you are away from Singapore, to make you feel to have you feel a slice and a taste of home.
Yeah.
You know, so that's keep you entertained and for you to feel like you're our friend. You know, so I don't really go into actually this is great because I like talking like this sometimes. I actually miss talking like this.
Yeah, like being like the not Fukkahfuzz self.
Oh yeah. Just getting into like the person and the human side of things, you know.
And it's not that Fukkahfuzz is not you.
Yeah.
It's just a different side of you.
Yeah, it's nice to not have the pressure to be anything, you know. Yeah. So it's nice. It's good.
Thank you so much for coming into the studio, man. I really appreciate the sharing, and I think it's very nice insight to a lot of people who see who you are. You know, they watch your Netflix special, they watch your TikTok, and they think that you're all that, but you are just another guy trying to live his life.
Yes, and I think it's apt that you call this interview or podcast show one day at a time, because exactly what we were talking about, right? You know,
absolutely.
That's how you gotta take life.
Yeah.
Boom, son.
Hey, thanks.
Cut that to a clip.
So, you know, if someone is watching this or listening to this and they are keen to go down for a show, watch some of your stuff online.
When is this coming on?
Right before Christmas.
Right before Christmas. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
On the 26th of this month, right before Christmas. Okay, so on the 26th of December, we're having an open mic. I'm hosting the open mic. It's going to be at Blue Jazz. Follow Good Room Comedy. It's a new room that we've started. We're trying to build an open mic room so that comics can come up and then try new jokes and try new bits. So it's slowly developing as a room. This will be our first show. It's going to be happening on the 26th of December. So get your tickets or PTix, and the link is at the Instagram page Good Room Comedy. That's Good Room, like GOODROOM Comedy, on Instagram. So get your tickets on the link there.
Nice. And you want to quickly drop your TikTok? I mean, okay, everybody knows you.
TikTok,
right?
Fukkahfuzz, at FAKKAHFUZZ. Same for my Instagram, same for my X, and same for my threads. And there will be, I'll be dropping a new piece of body of work. I think a new body of work sometime early next year. So I am not allowed to say what it is yet. But like once it does drop, I'll be very excited for you guys to watch it. And that's something that I've dedicated a lot of my time and my money to. So I hope when you guys watch it, you guys enjoy it. That's all.
Nice.
Yeah, that's all I can say. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Fuzz. Appreciate it.
Thank you, brother.
If you're not following Fukkahfuzz on Instagram, X, Threads, or whatever platform you're on, remember to go give him a follow so that you can keep a lookout for whatever he's dropping next year. And we will see you next time on the One Day at a Time podcast. Peace.